Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. It is quite clear and evident that there are two-tier policing and two-tier governance in this country. Whilst over 1,000 now have been arrested for rioting or looting, and some of them for writing bad words on Facebook, it seems that those who are deemed to be far right are treated much harsher than those on the left. If you are to sit in the road or damage vehicles or sit atop things and cause untold misery and cost to the nation, but you're doing it for a lefty cause, like Just Stop Oil, for example, then you are given a little tap on the wrist, maybe arrested and released, maybe a few days in prison or a small fine. You say something bad online, you get 3 years. Isn't that odd? Isn't it weird how those on the left are treated entirely differently from those on the right? And isn't it also odd that those who are white seem to be treated far harsher than those who are not white? I didn't see too many police in Birmingham arresting those carrying machetes, but anyone holding a placard saying enough is enemy number one and needs to be locked up for the remainder of their life. Fancy that. Having a voice and expressing an opinion seems to be far worse than carrying an offensive weapon. Let's make words weapons too, but do it peaceably. That's the takeaway. Now, there was a march, or a gathering in Bournemouth, very peaceable. Music was playing, all the good stuff. Land of hope and glory, there'll always be in England, that sort of thing. And the people there were carrying their banners, they were singing England songs, they were saying England is great, they were saying enough is enough, but it was peaceful, and the police could do nothing. But the voices were heard. And that's the secret. Peaceable protest, and the police can do nothing. And those who were shouting the most, who were getting violent, who were getting uppity, and the ones who were wearing the masks to hide their identity were the ones on the other side of the police line. It was the Antifa. It was the left. It was the left who were getting violent. It was the left who were getting aggressive. It was the left who were covering their identities. And yet the police did nothing. The police were facing the ones carrying the Union Jack. It's quite clear to see in today's world who the real enemy is. It's the police. It's the government. They are the enemy because they are not defending the people of this country. They're defending the enemies of this country. Isn't that weird? But we have this. This is a legal thing, but it's also a judicial thing, and it's a government thing. It's as though all three pillars of society are acting against the people of Britain. Now, some judges are locking people up simply for having a view against the government. How weird. I'll wait for my knock. But surely in a democratic society, one should be able to criticise openly and freely a government, especially one that is acting like a dictatorship. Because if a government is a dictatorship, it proves it by locking you up for calling it out. A government that isn't a dictatorship says you're free to call us what you like. That's the problem. And that's what Keir Starmer doesn't get. He's trying to clamp down on people who call him a dictator. And the more he clamps down, the more he becomes that dictator. Or in his case, Dick. It is no surprise, I suppose, that the judges are backing this. After all, there is supposed to be the difference between the executive and the judiciary, but there isn't. They're all backing it. Presumably, they're afraid of being fired or something. You got people like Simon Pritchett, for example, who was found guilty the other day. He had images, shall we say, very young people on his phone. Terrible images. He'd been doing it for quite some time. He got less time in prison than a man who wrote a post on Facebook. That's where we are in this country now, where possession of CP is less serious than saying something naughty on Facebook. Apparently words are worse than abusing children. Keir Starmer's world, what a wonderful place it must be inside his head. I think if that's how he thinks, then his children need to be protected from him. I think he needs to lose his children. You can't have a man like that anywhere near children where he thinks that abuse of children is not a serious crime. but I'll leave that up to you to consider. Thanks a lot. Bye.